everybody. My name's Kira.
And I'm Crista.
And we are here for day 361. And what's so nice to have Crista doing this is we started together the year into the fourth day, and now we have 4 days till the end of the year. So we started together, finishing together. So welcome to day 361. And we are in Zechariah 10 and 11. And Crista, we had talked about how it's funny. It talks about the Lord restoring his people and then the good and evil shepherds, but it's kind of flip-flopped. And we were saying it's too bad you didn't hear about the good and evil shepherds first and then the Lord restoring his people, because what can happen when you take things out of context, and how on this particular day to hear about the good and evil shepherd is kind of a downer.
Yeah, if you aren't super familiar with the Bible and you don't know how gracious the Lord is, if you're reading just through Zechariah 11, it can be a really depressing message and just make you feel like, why am I reading the Bible? It's not very uplifting, because he's basically in verse 16 of Zechariah 11, he says, "This illustrates how I will give this nation a shepherd who will not care for those who are dying, nor look after the young, nor heal the injured, nor feed the healthy. Instead, the shepherd will eat the meat of the fattest sheep and tear off their hooves."
Yeah.
So, it's not a very uplifting and gracious sounding Lord to me. And so out of context and without all the background information, it could be very depressing.
And what one thing that kind of struck me about this writing also, as far as the shepherd and the flock, we Psalm 23 is such a comforting psalm, and the Lord is my shepherd, and being comforted, and the rod and staff comfort me. And this is just, it's breaking, and the staff of favor, and cut in two, and so all these things. So it's just such different imagery for a shepherd. And so I think that kind of made it again just more of a downer.
Yeah.
So
super depressing.
Yes.
If you aren't really familiar with everything.
and not how we're used to kind of hearing about the shepherds. So that's kind of what stood out to me there. And then as far as Revelation, you had some information.
I
about
did.
Babylon.
I was super confused, because I was like, it starts out and the angel's a he, and then it starts talking about Babylon as a female, a she. And I was like, why do they call it a she? I was super confused. So I pulled up good old Google and I learned that it's symbolically referring to a female figure and place of evil mention in the book of Revelation. And her full title is stated in Revelation 17 as Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes and abominations of the earth. So a lot of negative context towards Babylon there. And so
that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting that you picked up on that, the her and the female piece to it. Also, what I kind of had learned about Babylon, it was known as a great patron of the arts, and kind of an artsy city, I guess. And then so in verse 21, though, it just the suddenness of a mighty angel picked up a boulder the size of a huge millstone and threw it in the ocean. And then talking about how, like, suddenly the great city of Babylon will be thrown down. And then the sound of harps, singers, flutes, and trumpets will never be heard in you again. And no craftsmen, no trains will ever be found in you again. So it's just, it's painting a bleak picture. But, once probably just a beautiful sound of music and those kinds of things, this is like, that's never going to be heard in you again. So that piece kind of the happy voices of brides and grooms, it really was so vivid in the descriptions.
Yeah, so I found it really hard to read through Revelation, especially around Christmas time when we've got all of the happy, joyous celebrations, and then you're reading about,
That's
just
true.
being cut off.
That's true. Yep.
This depressing city. So
yes. And then for our psalm, it's 146, 1 through 10. And just starts off right at the beginning. Praise the Lord, that all that I am, praise the Lord. I will praise the Lord as long as I live. I will sing praises to my God with my dying breath. And something that I had kind of read about that, as far as long as I live, or what are we doing daily? Kind of what going. We sleep every day. We eat every day. hopefully mostly brush our teeth every day, those routines that we have, but the idea of praising the Lord. And I think that's just such a neat kind of a reminder, like going into 2022, like what are we doing with our days? How are we living, and what do we want to incorporate maybe for the new year is just kind of all of our days, and as long as we live.
Yeah. And this just reminds me, just reading through the 1 Year Bible, and we're just about ready to wrap it up. And hopefully you guys were able to follow along with us and be in this journey with us. But, the one thing I do every day, the first thing I do every day is I read my Bible. And so it's been just such a positive habit. And when I wasn't reading it every day and wasn't starting my day out that way, I had such a different outcome. Like my days were not set up on the right foot.
Yeah.
And so I've noticed that that's something that I've gained in making it a habit.
Yeah.
And so
it sets a great tone, and you have the way that you do it in the morning, you have your phone right there, you grab it. And so it's just, it's again, you have created the habit of doing that. And I think that's so important. And, I usually, for the most part, read my handy dandy printed copy. Sometimes I do read the app. But what I have loved about doing the 1 Year Bible reading is sometimes, like, I'm out in my day or after a run or in the kitchen, and a word kind of comes to me, and then it's a word that's in the 1 Year Bible. So I just feel like God kind of speaks, or something that I'll write in my journal, the same word shows up. So it's that whole the word coming to life when you are doing that on a daily thing. And I think that's again, that's making it part of a daily thing is so important. And I just feel like God shows up in those ways, in those little details, when we kind of give him the time of reading that. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So Crista, Genesis to Revelations, thank you for being a part of this. Any other thoughts on the 1 Year Bible reading, or what something that stood out to you through the year?
I don't think that there's necessarily something like blatantly obvious that stands out, but this is the 8th time I've read it. And it seems like every single time I've read it, I've highlighted different things, and different things have stood out, and different things have been more impactful. And like you said, the word, the writing or the reading, or, it comes to mind. It's funny how God's words in the Bible, in the 1 Year Bible, it doesn't change the way that we read it. Like it's the same reading every single day for, every time you read it, but how it can impact you different in different seasons of life and just where we are.
Yeah.
So,
yep. So, yes. So thank you for being with us today for day 361. Way to go on keeping up with the 1 Year Bible reading. And again, Crista, beginning to end, thank you. And just have a wonderful day and a happy new year.
Happy New Year.